Now, one of our listeners, Trevor Kent, sent a lovely response to one of my endless and probably quite tedious by now cries to tell us about big events in history that you've stood alongside. In fact, his story was quite unexpected, because no matter how big a fan you are of Dad's Army, it would be pushing it to say that the filming of the movie in Chalfont St Giles in 1970 was a momentous world event. But we like the notion that this is what Trevor saw, so here are his memories. Attention.
I suppose it was late 1970. My oldest pal, Simon Leake, and I were in need of a drink, and we did what we always did and came down to Chalfont St Giles. Well, we tried to come down to Chalfont St Giles, but we got to the top of the high street and we couldn't move. We thought, what the heck is happening? There were cars parked all over the pavements, so we had to abandon our car and walk into the village, getting all the more desperate for a pint of Benskins. And lo and behold, the whole village had been transformed into Warmington-on-Sea.
Who do you think you are kidding, Mr. Hitler, if you think we're on the run?
There was absolutely no doubt as soon as we got into the village what was happening. I was already a fan of Dad's Army, and immediately we got here we found a platoon marching towards us with wooden guns on their shoulders. It was a surreal experience.
If you think old England's done.
It was absolutely obvious that this wasn't just for the TV series, and after we'd asked around, we were told that they were making a full-length feature film. But it wasn't just the sight of the cast wandering around in uniform. The whole of the village itself had been decked in character. A few of the locals were dressed up for extras as well, and of course all the shopkeepers were certainly very much involved. I mean, Corporal Jones's butcher shop is still a butcher's today. We'll wander up there in a moment. Hodges Greengrocers is indeed still there, and I fancy we might just get a pint in Captain Mannering's bank over there, which is now a pub.
The name of the new force will be the Local Defence Volunteer. Your loyal help will make and keep our country safe.
Right, let's go to it.
Because the film, I remember, started with the local defence force being actually created. So they first appeared in the village here in civvies, queuing up to enrol. And they walked across the road just here into the village hall, and there they gave their name and details and came out with their armbands, if I remember right. And there's the village hall just there on the right, next to the ladies and gentlemen's convenience. Mr. Ridley would have liked that.
Excuse me, sir.
Yeah?
Do you think I might...
What? Oh, yes, go on.
I'd liked Dad's Army right from the first broadcast because my father was in the local Home Guard, and it was certainly historically pretty accurate. I mean, Father used to say, this is what happened. He would say things like, well, the best person you could have in the platoon was the local poacher. He could tell if there was someone in a field 4 or 5 fields away purely by the sound of the cows. And here's Corporal Jones's butchers. Shall we pop in and have a look?
Good morning, Mrs. Peters.
Good morning, Mr. Jones. You got any sausages?
Hold on.
We're now standing in Corporal Jones's butchers. It was set with very little meat, of course, because he was a bit short of such things at the time. And, of course, they were all decked out in their blue-striped... oh, they've still got blue-striped aprons. Look at this, as the butcher's coming in now. Sir, what would we have got in the way of meat in 1940?
I wasn't here then.
I know you weren't here. I just wondered if you'd watched the show and could remember what Corporal Jones was selling at the time.
Sawdust sausages.
No change there, then?
No, not much.
I don't like the cold steel, you see, sir. I don't like it up 'em, you see, sir. I don't like them. Get him a chair, will you?
We're now off to Warden Hodges' Greengrocers. Turn left.
Mr. Brown goes off to town on the A21, but he comes home each evening and he's ready with his gun.
We've now moved up to Blackwell's Greengrocers and Fruiterers. Nice stone-fronted shop, but frankly looking probably almost exactly the same as it did then. But he was not a popular chap in the show, was he? No one liked the warden. The Undertaker's was next to Jones's the Butcher, so maybe that's this empty shop here. Private Fraser, who was the undertaker, John Laurie, was in fact a local. So it didn't mean any early rises for him during filming.
Captain Mannering, did you ever hear the story of the old empty barn?
No.
The cast mixed very well with the locals. I mean, they had to have a lot of cooperation because they totally closed the village. So, yes, apparently they were quite friendly, although Arthur Lowe, I did hear some moaning, because we were able to stand very close to them when they were not recording, and he did seem to be less than happy. But he may have had a hangover, I don't know, that particular morning.
You stupid boy.
We're now in Captain Mannering's office in Martin's Bank, now the Crown. They had a sign which showed it as Martin's Bank. The windows, of course, were all crossed with tape. A few sandbags outside. It looked great. And I think an awful lot of people felt very nostalgic. It's a village that at the time had a very high elderly population, and I think they were totally transfixed and bemused by what the film company had done. It was perfectly clear, looking at some of the people standing with us watching the filming, there were some fairly damp eyes.
1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1! There you are, sir. Now, what did you think of that?
You never cease to amaze me with...
I'm still a great fan of the show, and I'll watch it whenever it comes up. When I watched the film itself, I thought they made a fabulous job of it. It's a lovely memory to have. I mean, my pal Simon and I, we still talk about that day because it was such a surprise, it was such fun, but we never got our beer, you know.
If you think old England's done.
Shocking. Trevor Kent, he never got his beer.